Hey guys, as you read the title, that's why today I'm going to watch Mirko's backstory revealed. And if you guys don't know who Mirko is, I guess you have watched My Hero Academia. I suggest you would expand your horizons, people. And yeah, this is actually one of my hero shirts. Yeah, I'm pretty sure I still have another one. It's just that I can't find it. So anyway, are you guys asking why am I watching Miracle's backstory reveal? Well, to be honest, I already know pretty much some of the pro heroes in My Hero Academia, like their backstories, like All Might, Endeavors, Hawks. Not even thinking about. I haven't really heard anything about Aizawa's. I don't know about their backstories, but out of all of the pro heroes that actually caught my attention, it, one of them will be Mirko. I mean, I like how she fights. She's like a battle craze, like a battle craze pro hero of Bakugo. Yeah, I mean, throughout season like 6 and 7, yeah, yeah, she's not a opponent that you want to take on. So that's why I'm actually curious about her backstory in general. So anyway, I got nothing else to say. Let's get this going in 3, 2, 1.
Mirko the Rabbit Hero is without a doubt the community's favorite female character, yet we hardly know anything about her. I guess the legs say enough, but it never hurts to have more depth to a character. Today I can finally say we know more about her, thanks to My Hero Academia's spin-off series, My Hero Academia Vigilantes.
Oh!
In addition to that, we do...
So it's from the My Hero Academia's Vigilante. That actually came out. So, like, that series actually came out, like, a few weeks ago. So...
also get the backstory of Rappa from the overhaul arc. The
Rappa?
super manly fighter that beat the life out of Kirishima and Fat Gum before...
Oh yeah, he's from season 4.
...being defeated. Not as exciting as Legs, I mean Miracle's backstory, but any chance to learn more about the characters in this world is interesting to me, and I assume for a lot of you as well. The spin-off has proven time and time again that it is canon, with multiple crossovers between the two stories. It is a real prequel. With that said, the content here may never make it into the anime, so it's fair to say it's not a spoiler for those of you that only watch the anime. If you enjoyed the video, be sure to subscribe to Plot Armor to never miss an upload, and drop a like to support the channel. Now let's get into it. We start with Mirko as a high school student with her friends who seem to be out sightseeing before...
Yo, is that a young Fat Gum?
He'd helped them with finding their way to Sutentaku Tower before heading on his way. During this though, Mirko was stepping away from the group, now saying she caught a whiff of her favorite thing. Her friends nervously pointed out that they had just eaten lunch, but she'd reply to this saying that it's the scent of blood and sweat in the air that she'd found, declaring that there's a battle nearby in her cute takoyaki hat. Unfortunately for her friends, she'd take off like a rocket. Dropping her bags and the hat, she'd leave her friends shocked at what had just happened. She was gone. And let me just say, I'd hate to be responsible for Mirko's well-being. Anyone that can just take off like that is a liability that I would not want. After Mirko straight up abandoned her friends, we go to Rappa, or at this time, the Rapper. Not a bad name, but with a name like that, they could have had him spit some fire. Anime could use more characters like Killer Beep, but hey, I guess Rappa won't be the one to satisfy that need. Anyway, we go to Rappa, who is just pummeling O'Clock right now, who is going by the name The Ripper. The announcer for the cage match would go as far as to suggest the Ripper might be a god in action right now, the way he's surviving this assault. The Ripper would observe that Rappa's rush is full of wasted, excessive movement, but even with his quirk Overclock, he couldn't find an opening. And yes, I'll refer to the rapper as just Rappa because the alternative just doesn't sound right for someone that doesn't, well, rap. Rappa was bursting with excitement in this fight, same as he did when fighting Kirishima. Again, in the Ripper's words, he's a veteran, a battle-worn pit bull. He'd lastly think to himself that Rappa's a fun guy before taking a final blow to the face, leaving Rappa seemingly disappointed with his victory. From here, the Ripper would be taken to the back with other defeated fighters treated for wounds. Back here, an unknown man would approach,
Damn, they all
letting
got
the Ripper know
fucked
that
up.
the underground masquerade would like to honor his efforts in that fight and help him towards a rematch and future win, saying this while holding a syringe. Before progressing, I suppose it's important to stop for a moment and fully understand what the underground masquerade is. It's essentially an underground fighting tournament that pits amateur fighters against each other while the audience bets on the action, of course, and we are literally told
basically
that
like an
plenty of
underground
wounded and missing
MMA.
persons are connected
That's
to this
right.
underground fighting.
MMA.
Back to the story though, while the syringe is being passed, we go back to a young Mirko who would at this time locate the origin of the blood and sweat she'd smelled earlier. Now with a wild All Might-like smile, she'd say to herself how dare they leave her out of all the fun before taking off. We all know Mirko to be a battle-hungry character, but to see that she's always been like this is just great. From here, the unknown man would continue offering the quirk-boosting drug, selling his offer with the point that the drug will make the Ripper a mightier warrior. We've seen the power of these quirk-boosting drugs, so he's not lying here. It can turn the weakest quirk into a serious threat. I can't even imagine what it would do to the overclock quirk. The Ripper would finally get a chance to speak, calling this offer a deal with the devil, going on to say, "Fine, I'll take it." In a flash, no pun intended, he would grab this man's hand saying that he'll take it as evidence, revealing his identity as an undercover hero. Guards would be called in, but this was pointless. They were defeated in an instant, literally. We'd here learn that he did in fact lose his match purposefully and fulfilled his objective of obtaining evidence of drug trafficking. All that was left was to escape. A wall would appear though. It was Rappa. He didn't appear in a threatening manner though, instead saying that his last punch didn't feel right. He could tell that the Ripper's heart wasn't in that fight. He then did something surprising to me, despite all we know about Rappa. He offered half of the prize money and a little bonus because their death match, in his words, didn't count. In Rappa's mind, he didn't really win that fight. It looks like Rappa up to this point was used to fights being boring, because he described their fight as one that he thought he could sink his teeth into. He would then ask for a rematch to the death. The Ripper would here decline the offer.
I actually like Rappa. I mean, even though he's like somewhat of a criminal or a villain, but his heart's in the right place. He's like a nice dude. I mean, he actually helped Fat Gum and Kirishima, and now he offered half the prize money to Overclock. Yo, what a nice guy.
And deny that he enjoys a good fight, pointing out his preference for one and done sneak attacks. Rappa would try again, mentioning how the Ripper seemed to have a blast in the ring, but this too was countered by the Ripper, who said he was simply putting on a performance before losing to end up in the back room, making it then clear that this is the last time he'll join something so stupid. This next dialogue is just funny because Rappa would simply say, "Nah, you gotta."
You gotta.
I
love Rappa.
But in the end, the Ripper would make it clear he won't be doing a rematch. And I can't say I've ever seen a character so determined to get a rematch. And they were the winner. He was the winner. So this is just insane and just shows how passionate Rappa really is about fighting, if it wasn't clear already from his previous match with Kirishima and Fat Gum. He did want a rematch after the Kirishima and Fat Gum fight, but that could be interpreted as, he lost. But no, he literally won here and still wanted a rematch, even going as far to offer half his prize money. Moral of the story, if you really want something, go after it like Rappa, because this man would not stop talking. The two would then hear a lot of commotion suddenly. In the arena, it was Mirko now making a dramatic entrance, excitingly shouting that if there is a fight to be had, don't leave her out. The announcer would take notice of her school uniform. She would then grab someone's mask and put it on, declaring that she's the masked, mystery, beautiful tiger bunny. The crowd wasn't feeling this one. They were thrown off because, well, is she?
I prefer Mirko, but seriously, tiger bunny.
She'd answer that she's both, but if they really want the specifics, she's a tiger-ish bunny. And I can't lie, this explanation is pretty damn accurate when you think about Mirko. Some of the crowd saw through this fake name and mask though, realizing that she's Usako, the fight crasher, a girl from Hiroshima. We then learned that a few years ago, meaning likely when she was a freshman, she went around Hiroshima crashing various fight clubs. The legendary schoolgirl hooligan bunny-eared Usako. It gets crazier though, because apparently, in the end, she disappeared after being taken into custody and the name of her school was exposed. Pretty crazy that she ended up being a hero in the end despite cage fighting as a freshman and being expelled / arrested. But I guess it was forgiven since
they took her to juvie?
She's of course a very
Yo, Mirko's wild!
Or at that
She's
time,
more wild than Bakugo!
Mirko would jolt for a second after hearing all this being mentioned. They'd ask her if she was sure she wanted to do this, adding that she might get expelled again.
Yikes.
She'd try to keep her identity hidden and deny this, but they all knew it. It was her. It is, after all, impossible to hide those ears. Mirko being, well, Mirko, would shrug all this off, shouting, whatever, let's rumble. Now on top of the cage, during the middle of a fight, the two fighters would call her down to the ring. She'd go down but be met by a heavy scolding. The funniest part of that to me was one of them saying that etiquette still matters, especially during unlawful stuff like their cage match. They would then try to confirm who her challenge was for when she said, let's rumble, but then both would charge in for an attack, met by a vicious split kick. This little luchador would knock the life out of them both in style. These two weren't enough though. She would then declare war on everyone in the arena. The audience was all for this, all ready for the rabbit hunt. One even screaming,
"This ain't rabbit season, bro.
Kick me real hard, Lil Bunny." Yikes. Total mayhem would ensue. Mirko would go on to trash all the crowd in a match with nothing to gain but thrill. My Hero Academia Vigilantes has since the start of its serialization given us great content related to the main series. From Stain and Aizawa's backstory, both things we've covered on this channel now, to Mirko's. It's been a great side story. Prior to this chapter though, we hardly knew anything about Mirko, despite her being so popular. There was information in the Team Up spin-off that let us know that she's a new type of hero that travels around the country with no agency, but without that, there isn't anything else we've been told. As for Rappa, I don't think we imagined he'd come up again, especially not in a great way like this. Seeing what his life was like prior to working with Chisaki is definitely a nice touch. On top of that, we can better imagine what it was like when Chisaki first defeated him. Imagine the shock on the crowd's face when Rappa, such a respected fighter, was killed by a single touch, especially by the hands of someone that looks like Chisaki. Lastly, I just want to acknowledge how good a character Rappa is. Seeing him show that same energy that he gave Kirishima to another character was really satisfying to watch, honestly. With that said, this is the end of the chapter. It did end on a cliff note, not only with Mirko beating up the crowd, but also it seems like All For One might somehow get involved here. If anything does come from this, we'll be sure to cover it on the channel for you guys, so be sure to subscribe to not miss.
Okay, so that was Mirko's backstory. So I didn't get much information about Mirko, so we do know. So now I know that Mirko is pretty much more reckless, more wild than Bakugo. Like, she just loves the fight. Bro, now I'm just imagine it. Bro, Kibachi Zaraki will love Mirko and Rappa. Bro, I can see him inviting those two in the cookout. Anyways, that's today's video. If you like it, hit the like button, comment down below, hit the subscribe button when I add it. Till then, later guys.